Who are veterans? They're ordinary people accomplishing extraordinary things. The young and old, rich and poor, black and white, and nearly every category in between. They are the men and women who have served or still serve America in the United States Armed Forces, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. Some have endured great hardships, separation from family, and drastically altered lifestyles. Some have experienced the horrors of war, all sacrificed something so that we could enjoy the freedoms we have today. Students, today is important, and you can help honor all the veterans that have fought for you by showing them the respect that they deserve throughout this presentation. Please remain in your seats and silent. This is not too much to ask while we honor all veterans who have fought for the freedoms we enjoy today.
The gift of flowers at a memorial site is a ritual that occurs around the world, understood in every culture. The floral tributes at funerals bespeak both the beauty and the brevity of life, evoke memories of other days. These types of memorials are made each day at Arlington National Cemetery at the dozens of funerals, occurring there and in solitary communion with a departed loved one. More formal ceremonies involve the laying of a wreath and the attendance of others at this ritual. My name is Michaela Craig, daughter to retired First Sergeant for the United States Army. This spring, during our trip to Washington, D.C., Barberton Middle School will participate in such a ceremony. On behalf of the entire school district, the 8th graders of Barberton Middle School will present a wreath to recognize the service and sacrifice of our country's veterans. For those students lucky enough to be present for this occasion, I ask you to consider the words of Second Lieutenant Jack Lundberg, who was killed 2 weeks after D-Day at the end of World War II. He wrote his mom and dad a letter to be opened in the event he did not come home. He wrote, "I am sorry to add to your grief, but we of the United States have something to fight for. Never more fully have I realized that. The United States of America is worth the sacrifice. It is an honor for the Barberton schools to recognize this sacrifice. Thank you."
Good morning, students, faculty, and staff, and welcome to the 2013 Veterans Day Assembly. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Mr. Holcomb, and I'm 7th and 8th grade math teacher here at Barberton Middle School. Additionally, I serve as Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Marine Corps. Once again, it's my privilege and honor to share with you stories of the service and sacrifice of our veterans. In my years at Barberton schools, I have had several opportunities to speak at both Veterans and Memorial Day ceremonies. I have spoken to you about the service, dedication, and heroism of our nation's armed forces. I have used phrases such as "remember the fallen" and "never forget." Pictured on the right, in 2007, I told the story of Corporal Jason Dunham, a young Marine serving in Iraq who threw himself on a grenade in order to save the lives of his fellow Marines. For his actions, he was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. In 2011, pictured center, I told the story of Barberton's own Timothy Connor, who was gravely wounded while out on patrol in Afghanistan. Then, last year, I told the stories of Petty Officer John Tumilson, Chief Officer Brian Nichols, several Navy SEALs, and Lance Corporal Liam Tasker, all who made the ultimate sacrifice in the defense of this great nation. Today, I chose the theme of heroes and angels, and during my speech, I ask you to briefly consider the sacrifices made by both our service members, but of also their family and loved ones. By mere definition, a hero is any person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. But in modern society, and especially in the media, words like miracle and hero can quickly lose their luster, especially as we place these titles on fallen idols such as professional athletes, movie stars, and musicians. But I guarantee you that true heroes do exist. There are a handful of brave individuals who emulate the very definition of what it means to be a hero. They are courageous, noble, and outstanding individuals, but too often their stories go untold. In 2010, Electronic Arts introduced the 13th installment of their hit video game, Medal of Honor. Recognizing the instant familiarity of this game and others like it, I wanted to tell you the story of just one of the men this game is based on. Throughout, I want you to note the similarity of the fictitious hero picture here and real heroes like fallen Navy Lieutenant Michael Murphy. This Christmas weekend, Hollywood will release its new action film, Lone Survivor. This movie, based on the real events and book, Lone Survivor, by Marcus Luttrell, details his eyewitness account of Operation Red Wing and the lost heroes of SEAL Team 10. On June 28, 2005, deep behind enemy lines in the Hindu Kush Mountains of Afghanistan, a four-man Navy SEAL team was conducting a reconnaissance mission. Michael Murphy, Danny Dietz, Matthew Axelson, and Marcus Luttrell were scouting a terrorist named Ahmad Shah, who led a guerrilla group known as the Mountain Tigers. However, their mission was compromised when the team was spotted by local goat herders who reported their location to the Taliban. A fierce firefight erupted between just 4 SEALs and more than 50 insurgents. Trying to reach safety, the 4 men, each wounded, began bounding down the mountain's steep sides, making leaps of 20 to 30 feet. Danny Dietz, the communication officer, searched for a clearing to place a distress call back to base. But before he could, he was shot in the hand, shattering his thumb. It was then that Lieutenant Michael Murphy is credited with risking his own life in order to save the lives of his teammates. Murphy, intent on making contact with headquarters, unhesitatingly and with complete disregard for his own life, moved into the open where he could gain a better position to transmit a call for help. Moving away from the protected mountain rocks, he knowingly exposed himself to increased enemy gunfire. This deliberate and heroic act deprived him of cover and made him a target for the enemy. While continuing to be fired upon, Murphy made contact with the Quick Reaction Force at Bagram Airfield and requested assistance. At one point, he was shot in the back, causing him to drop the transmitter. Murphy picked it back up, completed the call, and continued firing at the enemy who was closing in. Severely wounded, Lieutenant Murphy returned to his cover position and continued the fight. Shortly thereafter, a Chinook helicopter with 8 additional SEALs aboard was sent to pull out the 4-man team. But as the Chinook raced to the location, a rocket-propelled grenade struck the helicopter, killing all the men aboard. Meanwhile, on the ground, and nearly out of ammunition, the 4 SEALs continued to wage war on the enemy. But by the end of the 2-hour firefight, Murphy, Axelson, and Dietz had been killed. Only Luttrell remained. Their monument reads, 4 Navy SEALs on a mission in Afghanistan met an overwhelming enemy force. A fierce battle ensued. 8 more SEALs were sent to their rescue. Only one of these brave men returned alive. The 4th SEAL, Luttrell, was blasted over a ridge by a rocket-propelled grenade and was knocked unconscious. Sometime later, he regained consciousness and slowly crawled down the side of the cliff. Already, he had been shot in the leg, had shrapnel embedded in both legs, had 3 cracked vertebrae, and was severely dehydrated. The situation for Luttrell was grim. Traveling 7 miles on foot, he evaded the enemy for nearly a day. Gratefully, local nationals came to his aid, carrying him to a nearby village where they safeguarded him for 3 additional days. The Taliban demanded that Luttrell be turned over to them, but the villagers refused. Finally, one of the villagers notified a Marine outpost of Luttrell's location, and U.S. forces launched a massive operation to rescue him. Marcus Luttrell may have been the lone survivor of Operation Red Wing, but he owes his life to the sacrifices of his fellow SEALs, especially Lieutenant Michael Murphy. By his undaunted courage, intrepid fighting spirit, and inspirational devotion to his men, in the face of certain death, Lieutenant Michael Murphy was able to relay the position of his unit, an act that ultimately led to the rescue of Luttrell and the recovery of the remains of the 3 killed in battle. For his heroic actions and ultimate sacrifice, Michael Murphy was posthumously awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. Marcus Luttrell may owe his life to the sacrifices of SEAL Team 10, but I guarantee you that was not the only force that protected him in those 6 days. In the Bible, the book of Psalm, chapter 91, verse 11 teaches us, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." And I'm confident that an angel provided and cared for Luttrell throughout his entire ordeal. But angels are not the only ones who provide for and care for our service members. Some are lucky enough to have the support of their loved ones if they return home. On May 3rd, 2012, Navy Explosive Ordnance Disposal Technician Taylor Morris was flat on his back, staring up at a blue desert sky as blood poured from him in Afghanistan. A faulty metal detector, a misplaced step a moment earlier, and a terrible explosion changed his life forever. The young Navy bomb disposal expert knew even then, with the blast still ringing through his head, that his life would never be the same. He is just one of a handful of quadruple amputees to survive the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He now benefits from the support of his girlfriend, Danielle Kelly. In a strikingly similar set of photos, 6 years after Jesse Cottle joined the Marine Corps in 2003, he was dismantling an improvised explosive device, or IED, during a deployment when it went off, leaving him a double amputee. But despite his debilitating injuries, he met his beautiful wife, Kelly, a swimmer for Boise State, during a competitive meet in San Diego soon after he arrived home. The pair married a year ago. As they posed together standing in an Idaho river, the smiling San Diego newlyweds evoked the tragedy of war as well as the power of faith, perseverance, and love. Then there's the story of Todd Love, a Georgia-born third-generation Marine, nearly lost his life when he stepped on a pressure plate IED while on patrol in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, in October 2010. Through the support and encouragement he received in rehabilitation, Love was able to overcome tremendous adversity. "I miss my legs," Love said, "but I have other things that I've gained from this, the power to influence people." On 25 August 2012, Love participated in the Super Spartan race in Leesburg, Virginia. The fact that the 22-year-old finished the punishing course is impressive, but the fact that the veteran completed the endurance test while missing both legs and his left arm is nothing short of inspiring. When you see pictures like this and are faced with your own personal trials and adversity, I want you to think one thing: your excuse is invalid. But despite these inspirational stories, some are not lucky enough to make it home. Army Reserve Major Donald Robinson, a trauma surgeon with the 86th Combat Support Hospital in Baghdad, once said, "It's just hard to explain the amount of destruction with an IED. Imagine shards of metal going everywhere, and the percussion from the blast. Then put someone inside a Bradley fighting vehicle and add fire to it and burning flesh. A person inhales and suffers inhalation injury. In all honesty, it's just destruction. Blood everywhere, people are screaming, it is chaos." He continued, "I wish I could have called that person's mom or dad to say, you know, I'm the one who took care of your son, and I want you to know that we did everything possible to save his life." I want you all to remember that all service comes with sacrifice. And with that sacrifice comes tremendous suffering, both for spouses and for children. So I ask you, as the forthcoming of our community and future of our country, to remember the sacrifices that so many have made and the burdens so many have carried, all so that we may have the quality of life we enjoy. We are all incredibly blessed to be living in the greatest country the world has ever known. So I ask you to show your gratitude to the services of our veterans by simply standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, thanking your relatives who served, attending ceremonies and Memorial Day parades, or simply by joining organizations to look to better themselves and this country. In closing, I wish you all a happy Veterans Day. May God bless our veterans, may God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
At this time, Ms. Powell and the 7th and 8th grade choir are going to sing Tribute to Heroes.
United we stand, divided we fall.
There are many staff members and their family members who have proudly served or still serve their country. At this time, I would like to honor their service by reading their names. Mr. Thorne, Army. Gene Ryan, Army and Air Force, father of Mr. Ryan. Roger Crawford, Army, father of Mrs. Minocchio. George Vernicatola, Air Force, father of Mr. Vernicatola. Brandon Watson, National Guard, brother of Mrs. Robinson. David Beery, Army, son of Mrs. Howell. Christopher Rogers, Navy, nephew of Mrs. Herman. Mr. Behringer, Marine Corps. Emerson Miller, Marine Corps, father of Mrs. Vitez. Mr. Neidert, National Guard. Mr. Burkett, National Guard. Mrs. Walker's family. Rondell Walker, Marine Corps, father-in-law. Arthur Carling, Army, grandfather. Jason Walker, Army, nephew. Mrs. Markley's family. Paul Dybel, Navy, father. Larry Dybel, Navy, brother. Bob Dybel, Navy, brother. Dave Norris, Navy, brother-in-law. Kyle Bunter, Air Force, son. Jim Markley, Army, husband. At this time, this concludes our program. I would like to thank Mrs. Wagner and the 8th grade band. Mrs. Howell and the 7th and 8th grade choir. Michaela Query for coming up here and speaking. Lieutenant Colonel Holcomb with the United States Marine Corps. And all of you students are being well behaved for this entire performance. Thank you very much.